one of the international programmers here, and some of you may recognize me as the programmer of Midnight Madness. But every once in a while, my boss, Cameron Bailey, has been very gracious to let me out of my cage and let me put some films in the other sections of the festival. This film is in Vanguard, and this, for Midnight Madness fans, is kind of a bonus round for you. And this is a film that I really fought to get here, because the film festival is obviously very premiere driven, and this film had already played at South by Southwest, and it played at another festival, like LA Film Fest, and so it would have only been our Canadian premiere, which is smaller than, you know, the big world premiere. But I fought for this because when I saw it, I loved it so much, and I felt that we could really do a good job introducing it to a new audience, and especially to you guys. This film is, I'm not going to hype it up, because too many people hype up films. Probably the less said, the better. But the director is a remarkable young talent. This is his debut feature, and I would like to introduce you to Gareth Edwards, the director of Monsters.
I'm really nervous. I feel more comfortable on the other side of the camera, so I'm going to take your picture. So, I just want to remember this moment. Basically, I want to thank D-Films for bringing it here, and I've been told to mention the release date, which is, and correct me if I'm wrong, November the 5th, yeah? Yeah, they get that on it. So if you like it, tell your friends. If you don't like it, please be quiet. We're going to be back up here doing Q&A after. And I want to thank, obviously, the festival for supporting the film. It means a hell of a lot. I'd love to say, like, my parents are from Canada and this is like a homecoming or something, but they're not. So, with the sequel, without ruining it, will probably be based in Toronto a bit. So, I'm lying. I just have running out of things to say. Just watch the movie. We'll be back later, and I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. It's better in CinemaScope. I'm going to do that again.
This is that here. Stand here. You don't see that at Roy Thompson Hall, do you? So, I've got some... Let me introduce you to the director of Monsters, Gareth Edwards! And the stars of Monsters, Whitney Abel and Scoot McNary! I have to say that this is Whitney's second time on the stage for the Ryerson, because she was one of the stars of All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. So Gareth, first off, where did you come up with the idea for the film? What was the impetus for this?
I don't know. I guess the first... I mean, I always wanted to make a monster movie. Everybody does if you want to make films and you're geeky like me. But the first thing that ever, when I sort of trace it back, I was on holiday. I was trying to think of an idea that where I could use computer graphics and make it really cheaply and stuff. And I was watching these fishermen, and they were pulling a net in from the ocean into their boat, and they were teasing each other because they were being really crap about it. And in my mind, I thought it'd be really funny if when they finally get it in, it was like some sort of dead giant sea creature or something. And because I did computer graphics, I was trying to think, well, how hard would that be to do? So I was imagining cutting around their arms and CGI net with creature and stuff. And as I was doing this thing hit me, which was, because they couldn't see it, they weren't reacting to it, they were just carrying on as normal. And it looked really interesting in my mind, which was, oh, hang on, what kind of world is that? And I thought, well, if this was like 6 years or so down the line, then it would become part of everyday life and no one would care anymore. And I spent the rest of the holiday kind of, there'd be like roadblocks and things, and I pictured like dead carcasses and tanks and whatever, and it all kind of worked really well in that we wouldn't have to pay anybody, it would all be extras, you know, all the extras could just be the real people that were already there. And we could shoot it really cheaply, it'd be like a documentary, the way we could film it. And the irony is, I was just going to pay for it myself and go make it. But when you have an idea that's slightly commercial and dirt cheap, you'll have lots of people willing to give you money to go make it. So I didn't have to spend my money in the end, so that was kind of how it started.
And how do you cast Whitney and Scoop?
I saw the production company we made it for, Vertigo in the UK, basically we're also distributing a film that Scoop starred in and produced called In Search of a Midnight Kiss, which is a great movie, if you get a chance to go see it. And they showed it me as an example of low-budget filmmaking. Apparently it was made for $15,000, and any film that is low-budget was made for $15,000, I found out since. Like Paranormal Activity or whatever the hell it is. It's like this 150 million or 15,000, there's no in between. And so basically I saw this and Scoop really stood out as a brilliant actor, but I was sort of adamant at the time that I wanted a real couple, because the story is so dependent on the chemistry between these two that I thought it'd be better instead of having two strangers that can do the stranger bit really well, and then maybe we might not get lucky with the chemistry. I wanted two people with genuine chemistry, and they can pretend to be strangers and stuff. And so Scoot said, "Wow, my girlfriend is an actress, you know," and he sent through her picture like this, and said, and I thought, "Oh, this will nail it. Gareth's gonna love her." And it actually put me off. You know this story, anyway. But it actually put me off because she's so attractive, and I was like, I don't want to film like a Hollywood movie where you have everyone looks like a model and everything. And then I went and met Whitney without makeup and realised how ugly she really is. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I didn't realise till we were on the shoot, but no, it was too late then. No, but basically, if you get to know these guys, and obviously Whitney, in that. They're so down to earth, so charismatic, so beautiful as people, that I was just thinking, geez, if I could just capture a tiny part of that and get it in the film, like the hardest task in this whole movie. Everyone says the art directing is casting. I was just 100% like fortunate that I met these two first, and so it was easy from there on, really.
And what was the most challenging part in making the film? I mean, the terrain and the conditions must have been a little different than you were used to. Can you talk about maybe some instance of that?
We were pretty excited when they said that we were going to go down to Mexico, and we knew how dangerous it was down there. And I remember at one point they were like, "Oh, we're going to go shoot in Juarez," and I was like, "You guys are in the UK. Have you been to Juarez?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." I was like, "Well, say you just got located in Juarez." And so a week later, they called back, "So we're not shooting in Juarez." And we were excited about it. I think the email said, super low budget, super small crew, near-death experiences. We're in.
And you were talking earlier that most of the dialogue in the film was just improvised. You just kind of had talking points and kind of a rhythm all set out. Can you talk about the scripting for it and how you guys reacted to that and worked with that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, our premise, I don't think I achieved this at all. So I'm not saying it like this, I'm just explaining how we arrived where we did. The premise and the thing that we wrote on the front of the treatment was the world's most realistic monster movie. That's what I set out to try and do. And as part of that process, I didn't want the dialogue to feel written. Like a lot of movies, obviously the screenwriter has months to think about the dialogue, and it's so perfectly worked out, and the exposition is so perfect that it just feels that way for me when you watch it. And I wanted all the awkwardness, like me right now, struggling of what the hell I'm going to say next, and thinking of what I'm going to say as I'm going to say it, and then someone else cutting me off, like Whitney, and carrying on.
Gareth had these pages when we'd show up every day. How do you say it? Blue and black ink pages, and what was the sort of the emotional and then the action. So we had a guide for sure, and it was a carefully planned story arc. But he kind of let it
It was like, okay, so that, I mean,
Hold on. We would shoot, and Gareth would just shoot for like 10 minutes, and me and Whitney would be talking and going on and on and on and on. And 10, 15 minutes would go by, and he would finally stop shooting and be like, all right, that was great. Now can you do that again? What do you want me to, just say what you just said? I have no idea what I just said. And they did an amazing job of cutting that together.
I did, Colin.